hip-hop artist, producer, and entrepreneur, Matt Monday is showcasing hip-hop and R&B artists across the Southeast with his annual Cultura Festival in downtown Charleston. I talk one-on-one with Matt about this Saturday's event for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Matt Monday, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
What's up? Thank you for having me back.
Oh, you're very welcome. Needless to say, you are a hip-hop artist, producer, entrepreneur, and obviously the founder of the Cultura Festival, which is Charleston's hip-hop and R&B showcase festival, which will return to the Royal American Outdoors on May 6th to spotlight musical artists from throughout the state and the Southeast region. Tell me, what's new, what's now with the festival?
What's new? We're just returning back from post-pandemic, of course. We added a headliner that many of us in the city love. Anytime he comes here, who's in Currency. Anytime he comes here, he always sells out. We love his music, the perfect vibe, and bringing that attention as far as bringing acts here, but also simultaneously providing a platform for a lot of the artists that are working, who are in Charleston and surrounding areas and other parts of South Carolina. So just beginning our expansion phase from year one and just trying to kind of get back into the groove of letting people know that this is, something that'll be annual and we're trying to grow.
What is the biggest difference from year one to right now?
Year one to now, I would say the biggest difference has been probably just integrating like larger sponsors, as well as kind of maximizing the things that and building on what we started in year one with what we offer. So like the arcade, we have a silent disco, like we have a lot of things that are going to be happening in year two that you saw in year one, but we're kind of making it a little better.
And what else do you want to make better in year two?
Definitely the performances, definitely what we offer overall, including the ticket. Right now, the first op tickets are $75, and stressing that comes with the arcade is free, the silent disco is free. You get all these very, very good performers from around the state and the city that you may not have known before, as well as currency on top of that. We have 2 food trucks, Bits and Bites and Alkaline Vegan Meals, both delicious food trucks. This is a Black-owned festival. A lot of the people who are coming are Black-owned, and just trying to step it up, man. Just trying to create a very unique experience in the city that we kind of haven't seen before, and seeing what we can do as far as like being the foundation of a larger movement.
And what will be that foundation of a larger movement based on your festival?
Hopefully, not just my festival, but other events that kind of make it comfortable for the young Black kids and young Black adults in Charleston to have a place to kind of come and be themselves and just enjoy things that are culturally relevant to us in the manner that we normally would do, that we otherwise probably don't have the opportunity to do, because the city is so forward towards the tourist. Like more so the concentrations on like the tourists that are coming in the city. And I think sometimes the people who are native or live in this city are being neglected when it comes to that. Like the resources aren't being allocated to us to create events such as this. This is all out of pocket. This is between myself, my partner Randy Roper, and John Kenny of the Royal American, who I need to say was very, very integral in allowing us this space to even establish this proof of concept. Like, all praise to John Kenny for just what he, and not just myself, he does that for a lot of people, like a lot of young artists. As long as you do good business, John is very open about trying to provide that platform. So special thanks to him.
Yes, indeed. So let me ask you, from a musical standpoint, Mr. Matt, what is culturally relevant right now?
I mean, Quintin, man, it's just, I mean, it's us. Like, I feel like Black people carry culture. I feel like we establish it and we carry it and we push it. And I think that right now, what's relevant is from a Charleston standpoint, from like the music and how diverse the Black music is right now. I think we're at a point where this is probably the most diverse that the most diversity we've seen from a musical standpoint from the young artists. You see a lot of artists in the city, but it's mainly one they occupy one lane. I think you've seen a more diverse crowd. I think you've seen people who want to come out and spend money to have this experience that they would normally have to travel to go to. It's in your backyard now. So I think the relevancy is based on what the youth says is relevant, what the black youth specifically says is relevant. And that's my opinion. I think we are the relevancy right now.
And what exactly does the black youth want right now as far as music?
I hope that drum is not drowning me out. If it was too loud, I apologize. But the I can't speak for all black youth. I can speak from my perspective and what I've heard from some of the kids I've talked to, and it's just exposure to things that, like, we're internet babies. Like a lot of the things that we come up on is things that we frequent on the internet, and just being able to access that and to be able to see that and participate in that in real life is something that needs to be relevant. It needs to be a conversation. It drives inspiration. It drives the social aspect. It drives cultivation. So I think that's really what we're kind of going more towards, is cultivating in a space and starting there and seeing what happens. So,
what other conversations need to be had about this?
As far as the festival
and black music in generalities,
it needs to be more of it. It needs to be people more. I saw they made Charlton Singleton director of Moja. I think moves like that should be made. I think other moves, I think all those festivals should hire someone, should be on the board or be in a position of influence to kind of direct these festivals that have these budgets and these resources to create a more diverse experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much of the same thing can we keep seeing? It's nothing wrong with it, but it's such an abundance and such an access of it that there has to be, like, we shouldn't be the only black festival for black people, like black owned, made by black people for black people. I think that the people in the positions, who can move the needle with that should definitely consider finding the people who have good taste, who are well curated and well connected to the culture to say, hey, we should go this direction. So, like I said, I like what Moja did. I like that move. I think they're going to go through a whole revamp. I hope the majors like Piccolo. There's another festival that's missing me right now. But I just think that we need more of that, man. Because especially in Charleston, most of the black people are the culture. Like, the Gullah people is the culture of Charleston. That's not a debate. That's a fact. And so why aren't these people at the forefront outside of, what y'all would, decide going to the market or going to buy, like, the established older regime's way of presenting the culture. The young regime has a way of presenting the culture as well. We deserve the platform as well. So hopefully this would be the beginning of that and sparking other people to do similar things and build similar entities.
And Mr. Matt, let me ask you, because you mentioned it a couple of times in the interview thus far, but access. What do black musicians and artists in Charleston need access to right now?
As simple as just a platform, as simple as just the stage. Now, I will say it's been opened up more. Shout out to Charles Carmody at the Music Hall, who also runs Music Farm and has been having an abundance of hip hop shows. And it's really, I can tell I text him, he's really trying to book things that we would like, rather than just being generalizing black people and like, oh, it's rap, so you like it. Nah, he's like really booking things that are relevant to the youth. John Kinney, like I said earlier, John Kinney always opens his stage up for rappers who are up and coming if they need a smaller venue and they're starting. The Charleston Poorhouse does as well. So the platforms would be established. Now we have to get to a point of, how can we put more money into the production? How can we put more money into the marketing? How can we create more spaces that are part of these larger festivals? Like, there should be something in Moja. I remember Moja when I was young. We used to go behind the Customs House.
Sure.
And that was the thing. Like, Friday night behind Customs House was a thing for Moja. All the young people, it was like a reggae night. They would have, like, the stage was like facing was that like the Fleetwood Landing side.
Right.
It was such a vibe, and you had all the vendors and just the smell, like your senses are going crazy, but it's all us, and it was peaceful. It was such a good time. You don't see that no more. You know what I'm saying? I remember, and I know I think they have it at Berto Bank, but it's not the same vibe.
Right.
You don't see the Stone Soul picnics anymore. I used to be out at Lassen where we would all come out there and they bring regional acts and national acts to that stage, and you have like food trucks. I think Black Food Truck Festival is kind of becoming a version of that in a sense.
Okay.
And shout out to them for what they're building. But I think we are in the beginning stages of seeing more of that, and I hope it progresses. Just with having access to resources.
And as a disclaimer, I was once a Mojo volunteer for many, many years, so I obviously volunteered at the reggae block dance, so I know all about that, what you're just saying.
It was crazy. We looked forward to that all week. So yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Where are the spaces for these musicians besides the obvious that you just mentioned, the ones that we love, the Music Farm, the Poorhouse? What are the other spaces though?
I mean, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I will say I would like to see things scale to like larger, like I personally want to do larger scale shows that at a higher volume. I think cultivating at a higher volume kind of speeds up the process of it creates like this mass social effect where we're all looking forward to this, just like Mojo Custom. We're all looking. If all of us in this year looking forward to this to come, then when we get there, we're gonna have an amazing time. And that's like, how can we get to just having an amazing time with not just 100, 200 people? Don't get me wrong. I love the intimate settings,
right.
But I think most of them are just all intimate settings. That's all we have access to. Nah, give us TD Arena, give us Family Circle Cup too. You know what I'm saying? Like, why can't we see Charlie Wilson in his Family Circle Cup? You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the ideas that I think that the direction that I would like to see this going to. But that's me personally. I'm not, my opinion is just my opinion.
And going back to your festival, I want to ask you this too, Mr. Matt. But how did the Cultura Festival become a curated event?
How did it become a curated event?
Yes, sir.
I kind of spoke with my team, Randy Roper, who pretty much he runs Swim as well with me, from James Island, and does a lot of the financing. Tawana Talbert, Dave Curry, John Untouchable J Talbert. I kind of went to them and just told them what my ideas were and what we were about to do, and I pay attention to the local acts. Like, I pay attention to just music. I'm a music person, so I listen to music. And so with some of the people that I chose, it was more so me seeing them working and seeing how they were moving and saying like, yo, you should get a platform. Like, somebody needs to hear you, because I know you're going to take this opportunity and then move beyond that, as far as what you're doing in your personal journey. So that's really how I curated it. And sometimes I hit the nail on the head. Sometimes I miss. You know what I'm saying? I'm human, but for the most part, most of my curation starts with me liking the music you have, but then moves into you being able to do good business. And that's a big key. Is like, I'm a person that is support Black business, but I'm also a person that support good business. And if you can't do good business, then you're not ready to, be on that platform. And that goes into the curation.
And what are those emerging artists right now in the local hip hop and R&B area?
The artists so on this bill, I'll speak about the artists on Cultura. I like what Blue Flame James is doing. I've seen just him work on his own for a while. I also like what Crucial BGR, he's been working, putting out a lot of projects. The same thing for Sunray, who's been putting out projects and putting out music and just really tapping in with her fan base. I just got onto Swank, I think last year, and since then I just kind of watched her, how she's been moving. I did a show where Just Alex was there. Courtney the Poet had a show, and I saw Just Alex live. I thought she was an amazing performer. I thought our daughter was just a really dope performer as well as Tyree, who just won Best of Charleston Hip Hop. So a lot of them have already been kind of making their own waves and moving in a manner which it called for me to at least pay attention. You know what I'm saying? And Illadel, who I've seen him since he was much younger, and just seeing his progression as a DJ, they deserve to be rewarded. If you're working, you deserve to be rewarded.
Sure, absolutely. And this is probably an offbeat question, Mr. Matt, but how is today's R&B and hip hop music vulnerable yet authentic?
You got to search for that. It's not. I don't think you're gonna find anything that's vulnerable and authentic on a surface level. I will say I think R&B is much more. I think R&B is like absolutely vulnerable, and most of it is absolutely authentic. I think we're going through like this new wave of new R&B. I think there's a lot of toxicity in music, period. But I think if you search for what caters to you or what speaks to you, you can find it. I think the pool just got so big because everybody can upload and stream now.
Right.
So you really have to search, and like I think once you find a person you really like, it's easier to get a cult following because they're going to stick with you because you're speaking to them. That one person out of 300,000 is speaking to you. So I think it exists. I think it's not surface level like it used to be. Like you can't find Aaliyah. You're not gonna find A. Marie. You're not gonna find Mary J. Blige. You're not gonna find those things. Like we're not being pushed those things. You gotta go search really for them. But they exist. They exist.
Wow. So who is your music speaking to these days?
I haven't put out music in a few years because I've just been working on Swim as a company. I will be putting out music this year. I think this year I'm making music like for my age group. So I turned 34 recently.
Okay.
And so I'm speaking to like my age group and the things that Black men go through at this stage in life based on the thoughts that we have about where we probably should be or we aren't, or whatever insecurities or thoughts or questions or just common societal, I don't want to say pressures, but societal expectations of where we are at this point and what that looks like, what that feels like. And speaking from my perspective on like me personally, what I've dealt with. So it's an album I've worked on for about a year and a half. I'll probably put it out later this year. It'll be two. It'll be that, and it'll hopefully be a joint album with another artist that I really, really like, who I grew up on. And yeah, that's who we'll be speaking to. Yeah.
So, from a musical standpoint, Mr. Matt, what are those societal pressures of music?
Societal pressures of music? Well, not societal pressures, just societal pressures of who I'm expected to be versus who I am just as a Black male. And what that looks like. And that's from family, that's from your partner in a relationship, that's from just the everyday person on the street. That's what's being fed on media versus what's actually like is what I see in media about people that look like me, is that really a reflection of me? Like overall, is that what I embody? It's questions like that, or just speaking on topics like that. So I think from a societal standpoint, there's a lot of demand of how some of us should move based on what we see every day when we open up our phones. And then to contrast with that, there's a reality of how we actually move. And it's kind of like, mirroring the two and asking the questions.
And what other questions are people asking you about music today?
When they ask me about music, it's kind of the same things like, where can I find good music? I think discoverability has become probably the most important tool in music today because, like I said, how big the pool has gotten. So the ability to find the things you like, that's just not like, you don't want to listen to too much music that's just surface level. I think at some point you got to find something that speaks to you, something that speaks to the spirit. That's sometimes easier said than done. So people would ask me like, because I'm a music head, so I'll search through things. I know underground artists. I know artists on the come up. I know artists who are huge within their respective genres. I don't only listen to rap. I listen to a multitude of genres, and so I just kind of tell them like, hey, you got to do the research and give them suggestions of things I like. Maybe they might like it, maybe they not like, but I like this. I think this is cool.
And you talk about the pool earlier, Mr. Matt, as far as the emerging artists and artists that are already here. So how do you, as within the Cultura Festival, keep up with that growth?
I talk to like my younger cousins, my little brother. I talk to like my friends' little brothers. Like I always ask them what they're listening to. I'm like, what are you into? What are you listening to?
Right.
And it's surprisingly, I'm lucky enough to have a situation where a lot of them have really good musical taste. Like my little brother actually probably has some of the best musical taste. I always ask him what he's listening to.
Right.
I have a little cousin too that has really good musical taste, and then a friend of mine, his little brother is really excellent musical taste that spans across multiple genres. So I'll just ask them, and they'll put me on things I've never heard of, and I probably wouldn't because that I'm not the demographic for some of these artists. I'm outside of it. I probably just became outside of it. But some of it still, it's relatable. It speaks to me as I was at that point before. So that's interesting that someone's saying that. So I like that. I like hearing younger artists speak to a point where I used to be, and just being reminiscent of, I remember when I felt just like that. And then kind of takes me down a path of where I am now. I enjoy that.
That's amazing. So when it comes to the Cultura Festival, Mr. Matt, who is your demographic?
The demographic for Cultura is first and foremost just the young black, like I say 21 to maybe 40 demographic of Charleston, which is why, and maybe we can go as far as 45 because there's a lot of older people coming. It's catered towards them. Anyone who wants to come participate in that is absolutely welcome, but that's who it's for. Like, so if you want to participate in the cultural cultivation surrounded by those people, you're more than welcome, but I make it for them, and I want them to enjoy it. I want them to come there and be themselves and be comfortable with being in the space with each other, playing the music we like, eating the food we like, playing arcade games, having the conversations, buying the merch. Like it's just for us. Like, all right, this is our day. You know what I'm saying? So and just be upholded from a quality standpoint. That's something that the people who come can be proud of and be happy they paid their money for, and be adjacent to the other events in the city that are trying to do the same thing. And just, I think it ain't just a one event thing. I think it's myself and other events that are in the city trying to grow in a manner where there's more diversity, and it's more it's more inclusive of the things that we like. So yeah.
And quickly, Mr. Matt, is your festival a one-day festival?
It's one day, yeah. It's one day. It was one day first year, one day this year. We're looking to go into 2 next year. That'll probably be our first day we experiment time with 2. But I really just want to create a better. I think it's easier to manage a more thought out and more detailed experience with one day than it is with trying to get 2 and trying to manage acts and then budget. So just one day, and then I think if I can show what we can do in one day, I think it'll kind of put us on the path for 2.
And do you have the infrastructure to expand that?
Yep, that's the whole idea. The whole idea is the scale. Like, we don't plan on just doing the same thing every year. Like, I am deliberately looking to scale to a larger space, to 2 days, to just adding more attractions, just adding more things that's included with when you purchase a ticket. You don't have to worry about anything about other than buying your food and your drinks. Other than that, there's things for you to do, and that's the goal. Scale.
And how do we buy tickets for the festival now?
You can go to culturafestchs.com, and the ticket link is right there. As soon as you click on the website, it's a buy ticket button. You can buy your tickets. Right now, the early birds are sold out. We have first op tickets available at $75. I think after fees and taxes, it's like $81 and some change. And then after those are sold out, it goes up to $85. And I don't know the fees and taxes on that, but yeah, it's all inclusive. We have an arcade by Dope and Rare. We have a silent disco presented by Red Bull, Bits and Bites food truck, alkaline vegan meals. We have 9 incredible acts. Currency is the headliner. Just plenty super dope merch. We have really cool vendors, so plenty to do and experience, and just looking forward to it.
And it's going to be, I'm in North Charleston, but downtown on Morrison Drive.
Downtown 970 Morrison Drive at the Royal American. Yes, sir.
That's going to be amazing. Well, hip-hop artist, producer, entrepreneur, and the founder of the Cultura Festival, Matt Monday,
yes,
thank you for your time again. Welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you, Quintin. I appreciate it. I always enjoy these. Thank you.
Likewise. You're welcome.